Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Catherine Gallagher. You are listening to CMG Talk. CMG is my initials and it's also part of my company name, and it stands for Commitment, Motivation and Growth. My name is Catherine Gallagher. Welcome, welcome. So this episode is going to be about couple, being a part of a couple and the different stages of a relationship. Now, traditionally, it's talked about being in 4 stages. I like to talk, though, about 5 stages when I do couple work within my clinical practice. And I do lots of couple counselling and lots of relationship work and dating, right? It's one of the areas I work in the area I specialise in, which is disenfranchised grief. When people come to me to do with when life happens and they have issues, problems they want to work through, they'll often come to me with problems within their relationship. Disenfranchised grief, life event has happened in their relationship and they want to work through it. So there are 4 traditional stages and then there's a 5th stage, and I will talk about that in a moment. Hold that thought. You're going, Catherine, really? You're going to keep us guessing? Yes, I am. Okay, so the first stage is the stage we all talk about, we're all familiar with, isn't it? The meeting, right? Where we meet someone. And we can meet people in different places, can't we? We can meet them in a bar. Sometimes people tell me they've met someone in a restaurant, right? You know, they've been paying a bill and somebody started a conversation and they've got to talk to them and they've agreed to meet up with them for a date or for a drink later on. You can meet someone in a bar or a restaurant. You can also meet them through mutually connected people. Your family might introduce you. Friendships, mutual friends. You might go to an event, an occasion, a wedding. It might be a christening, or it might be a bar mitzvah, or it could be some kind of family occasion. I've also had people meet at funerals. They've told me they've met at a funeral and they've got connected through that. So we can meet in different places. It could be a social club, it could be a hobby, it could be learning, something, a different language, and you meet in a social event or a learning course and you develop a connection. There's a common ground there. It might be a church, a faith group. We can meet at a party. I could go on. We could also meet at a dance situation if you go to dancing. There are so many places. I'm giving you lots of different suggestions, but if you're in a committed relationship, maybe not go there to meet someone if you're in a committed relationship already. Just saying. Okay, so we can meet people in a different place, different times and different opportunities. And I wonder where you met your loved one if you're in a committed relationship. The opportunities to connect are vast now. We can meet someone on the internet, dating sites. We can also meet people thinking we've met someone and it's not ended up being the case, because we know they're fake profiles, they're scams, there's catfishing as well, and I meet lots of people that have had that kind of experience. But here right now we're talking about where you've actually met someone and it is a situation where it's a genuine connection. I will do other talks where we're talking about other types of situations, but here we're talking about where you've met someone and it's been a meet-up, you're connected and it's a genuine connection. And you know it is because you're connected with the person and you've met them, and we'll go through the different stages. So the first stage is the meet-up, and there's an attraction there. Now, attraction is very subjective, isn't it? The pheromones are going, you meet someone, you're attracted to them, you're connected to them, and even if you're meeting them online, often the communication, the words, how you're meeting someone, you often feel there's something there, isn't there? And often when I say to people, how did you know? They're usually saying something like, I felt they understood me, right? But usually there's some kind of attraction. And often people will tell me that when they've met someone at the initial stage, they might be physically attracted, But usually they'll say, it might not necessarily be their usual type. How many times do we say that? I'm with someone, but it's not really normally my normal type, right? But I'm attracted to them in some way. There's something about them, right? Now, it might be that you might say there's something about them. Maybe they make me laugh, and it might be, I find them, intriguing, to challenge me intellectually. It might be, there's something about them that they've sparked your interest, your curiosity, right? You see where I'm going with this, and you'll be saying, yes, I get that. There's something there, there's enough interest, there's enough curiosity, and you want to, as an initial meetup, you want to know more about this person. And you want to have, after the first date, you want to have another date. And often, either in the first date, there's been a, let's do this again, right? Or there's been, here's my number. Now, if there isn't a, when will we meet, let's firm it up, there can be quite an anticipatory stage, can't there? Oh, do we remember this? Right? When will it happen? Will they message? Will they text? Right? When will the next contact be? And that can be part of the excitement, the pursuit. It can feel quite exciting, but it also can be quite nerve-wracking as well. Will they call? When will they call? Right? Should I call? Right? You're going, oh no, Catherine, I'm feeling it already. I've got nervous, anxiety, butterflies. People often say I was really nervous, but it's the anxiety sometimes, but it's excitement. If you look at it as excitement, the butterflies, because there's been something about this person that sparked an interest. Sparked an interest. It's exciting. The hormones are going. There's excitement going. And we really would like to get to know them better. So curiosity is there, and we're moving into the next stage. We've had the first date. We instigate a second date. And we then start looking to see, do they like me? Do they like me enough? And we consider things like, what will I wear? Where will we go? What will we do? And we look to see if we have enough curiosity to spark their interest, as well as are they sparking our interest. We start becoming infatuated. We're moving into stage 2. So as well as the physical, we look for body type. And we know that sometimes body type changes, doesn't it? It can change to do with sometimes how somebody feels, sometimes health. But we don't really think about that. We think initially about the physical often. Now, some people say to me, I'm not really into physical. Some people are very set in a particular physical appearance. Some people say to me, I only go for brunettes, and I'll say, what if they dye the hair colour? And they go, oh, I've had people say to me, I only go out with somebody that's blonde, and then they meet them and the person then after a few dates changes their hair colour, and they go, well, I always change my hair colour, and they go, well, I don't like that. And it puts them off the person. How set are you on physical appearance? That's the question. Some people will say to me, I really like somebody that's slim and petite, but then the person, when they're going out, is really happy and actually starts putting on a bit of weight because they're really happy being with the person, and the other person's like, oh, I don't like that. I like you only slim and petite. See where I'm going with this. So curiosity, infatuation, we're interested, there's the physical appearance, the body type, personality. We start looking at personality. Hobbies, character. We look at like-mindedness, or we look at whether there's an opposition. Opposites attract, depending on who we are, what's important to us. Now, as a coach and somebody who specialises in relationships, when people come to me and they're looking to find that special particular person, I often will say to them, who are you as a person, and what are your needs and your wants? What are your core values? What are your deal breakers? Now, when people get to the meet-up and the curiosity in stage 2, invariably often they're not thinking about those deep-rooted core values. They're just looking at, I'm attracted to this person, do they like me enough, or they want to see me enough? But if we're looking for longevity, if we're not looking at our deal breakers and looking at our core values, we're often getting attracted to someone that might not necessarily, could be, but they're not necessarily the person that's going to be the best fit for us. Just a thought. This is often why people come to me and say, I don't understand why it didn't work. And then, after we start talking, we start realising then through conversations there's been deal breakers. Red flags have gone up and they've just waved them and not paid attention to them. So we're looking at appearance and body type and personality, our hobbies, character, we're understanding, we're a bit more. But how curious and how inquisitive are you at this stage? You know, asking the right questions, finding out really about the person, values, core values, political beliefs, moral beliefs, what's really important, what are the deal breakers? Are we asking the questions we need to ask to make sure this person is someone? Or are we at a stage in life we're not really looking for long term, or just really looking to enjoy, go out, have fun? It depends, doesn't it, on where we are at stage 2 and what we're really looking for. I mean, if we're in our teens or we're in our 20s, are we looking to settle down, or are we looking to go out and have fun and just enjoy ourselves? We're not necessarily looking for anything long term. Often we're trying to figure out who we are, so we're not necessarily looking to find that Mr. or Miss Right. Do you know what I'm saying? It depends on who we are. So often we don't go in too deep into those. And we often override the differences. We often don't necessarily pay attention to them. Some of these people will say to me, even if I am looking for the right person, I'm that busy keeping an eye out to see if the person likes me enough. I don't necessarily pay attention to see if I really like them enough. I'm like, oh, has that worked? Well, probably hasn't, Catherine, worked that much. Hasn't really worked that well. Right. So we do look, don't we? If we want to make sure we're with the right person, we need to pay attention. The differences can help us grow, can help us be accommodating, can help us actually become a person that's got diversity and inclusion. It can help us to be that person that can grow. But equally, if there's somebody too different and it's two different values, two different core values, it can jar and it can actually not be a good fit. Because if you're too busy at this stage 2 looking for someone, and we're too keen to have this need to impress in the early stages, and we're talking about the first 3 to 4 months, can be a bit less, can be a bit more than that. If we're not keeping an eye out on our needs and looking to make sure we're actually in a good place with the relationship, then are we really making sure that we're in a good place? And you want to pace it right. Because women often, particularly, and it's not sexist, it's fact, I'm a woman myself, you can tell, right? Often women will try to find where's this relationship heading, right? They'll often, in their mind, be looking to know, is this going to be serious? I think it's important to give a relationship, when you initially meet and you're in an infatuation stage, the second stage, you don't want to rush it. You want to pace it and make sure that you're enjoying getting to know each other. Because it's early days. You've only just met. You don't really know each other. You don't know enough about each other. So why would you want to know if this is a lifetime, long-term commitment? Give it time. There's no rush. You know, sometimes women are like, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. You know, my biological clock's ticking. I need to make sure that this is the person, if this is the person I'm going to be with, it needs to be right. But that can actually polarised, that can push someone away from you. So sometimes it's just to breathe and enjoy and get to know each other. But if you get to a point where you start realising that the relationship, the values, who you are as a person, they're in alignment, you're starting to enjoy being in the relationship, you're starting to enjoy being with each other, you're noticing that you're connecting and things are growing, you move into stage 3. And what we call the enlightened stage. I know, we go from infatuation into being enlightened, you start growing together. And you usually have started calling yourself boyfriends, girlfriends, boyfriend and girlfriend, or maybe you're just saying you're together, right? If you don't want to necessarily, name it. And when you start then identifying yourself as being together, you start then feeling that connection. That's when the idea of what makes a couple then starts to be defined. Do you know where I'm going with this? Because often that's what happens, isn't it? So how often do we see each other? Do we see each other's family and meet each other's family at this stage? Or is it too soon? Are we introducing ourselves to our friends? Are we part of a friendship group already? Does it change the dynamic in some way? All these questions start to get answered, right? And, sometimes some people, and especially men, are very good at compartmentalising, right? I only do this with my mates. I go to the football, or I go to this particular hobby, or I do this with, I do my hobby separately, or I meet my family separately, or, but I don't, I want to invite my partner to like a work thing, even if everybody else is inviting someone. This is my thing. It's separate, right? Couples, I don't do couple things. I only do things myself. Right, so I can be myself and I can have my own space. But as you get into phase 3, if you're starting to be a couple, often there's an expectation you do things together as a couple. So you might go out and couple, dinner dates, right? You might go out as a group, or you might introduce each other to family, to friends at some point. And I'm not saying straight away before everybody goes, but some people very early on do introduce because there's such a deep connection and they do feel that everything is just right. But not everybody wants to do that. Some people don't do that unless they're, got a ring in the finger and they're like walking down the aisle, right? If they're getting married, right? It depends, doesn't it? And where you are in your stage of your life, what's right for you. And I guess maturity level as well, in stages and ages. But at stage 3, you're more enlightened, you're growing together as a couple, and the hormone levels are calming down, infatuation's calming down, and suddenly you start seeing each other, flaws and all, right? You start seeing each other as you are. And you start asking yourself, is the connection deepening or is it becoming more fragile? Are you making more time? Are you invested more in the relationship? Or actually, are you starting to grow apart? Are you building and investing? Are you building, connecting? Is the trust deepening? Are you forming a deepening intimacy? With trust building, intimacy grows. Are you more present in the relationship? Or does it feel more of a chore to spend more time together? These are questions that need to be asked. Do you feel you're accepting each other? Because often the things we see as weaknesses and flaws and differences, we either accept them and feel more accepted together by our partner, or we feel judged and we feel that these are heightened, and what was seen as quirky or cute becomes annoying, irritable and a real flaw, and it's the thing that we pick on all the time, and our partner used to think that was funny, you used to think that was really cute, and now you just go on at me all the time. Our partner's telling us that we're disorganised, or we're suddenly sloppy, or we're somebody that's just not committed, or someone that just is disinterested, and you're like, but I'm forgetful, I don't remember these things. No, it's just you're inconsiderate. But it's just I'm really busy all the time. When we're all busy, make time. Suddenly we either grow together and we see the things that our partner does and we don't judge and we accept, or they're heightened. The spotlight's on them and they become a bone of contention, as we say. Are they thrifty? Are they messy? Are they forgetful and inconsiderate? Or is it just, that's how they are, that's who they are, and I just love them no matter what? Is it your partner's asking for more attention, more time from you? And is that flattering, or is it they're needy? How do we choose to see it? It's always a choice of how we choose to see things. If your partner wants to join in a hobby, is that unacceptable because that's your time? Or is it flattering because they want to spend more time and they want to learn about something you really enjoy? It's how you choose to see it. Is your partner too focused in the relationship? Are you wanting to encourage them to be more focused and have their own time and self-care? It's how you choose to see it. I hear these things all the time within the relationship work I do. I hear complaints instead of problem solving. I hear judgments instead of understanding and compassion. The questioning of the relationship and the direction and the pushing for commitment too soon, often fragile, makes a relationship, breaks the relationship. Because someone's saying, I feel you're pulling away from me, so I want to know where the relationship's heading, and I want to know you're committed to me. That's a surefire way of ending a relationship. So we have to listen to our intuition, listen to that inner voice. We need to be real with our own needs and expectations, and we need to be able to take care of ourselves within this stage. That's what's important. But pushing for a commitment when someone's not ready to give it, and asking for someone to be more committed when they're clearly not, what we need to do is to focus back on ourselves and take care of what we need and our needs. If you're in stage 3 and you're both at the same pace and you're both looking to invest in the relationship with each other, then you're going to be moving on to stage 4. You're going to be hitting that point where you're committed. There's an engagement. And I don't mean necessarily engagement as a ring, right? I mean you're engaged with each other. And sure, you might be talking about engagement, marriage. You might be talking about moving in and cohabiting and living together. You might be talking about future plans. Depending on what age and stage you are at your relationship. Not everybody has children. Not everybody can have children. Some people adopt. Some people foster. Some people have different forms and different types of relationships. I talk to couples all the time. They get married later on in life. They don't necessarily have the possibility of having children. I talk to couples all the time that don't necessarily want to have children depending on their circumstances and who they are as people. They might have children from other relationships, but their focus might be on other things, and there's no judgment. It is absolutely our life and our choice. And some couples meet later on in life and they don't have the choice of children. But sometimes that's one of the difficulties when people come to me. They'll say they often have this, did you not have children? Why did you not have children? Yeah. Sometimes we don't meet people, at a point in our life where, especially with women, where we can have children. And sometimes, we might choose that having children isn't the right thing for us. I think it's important when we look at the commitment and the readiness and what's right for us and the values in our life and the lifestyle we want to have. No matter how our life is and how we are as people, our life is just as valuable and just as important. I think that's so important to see that, regardless of who we are and how we are as couples. We need to see the value to every single couple. And the aspirations and plans with each other and the connection that we have with each other. And being able to be together as a family and our friends and bringing these together. And when you're a couple, it's important to have the hard and difficult conversations about finances, handling and planning and saving and your current circumstances. Is there debt there? Are you an investment person? Do you have a pension? Do you save? What are your commitment to each other for the future to do with finances? If there is children within your family, it might be nieces and nephews, it might be children, it might be stepchildren. It might be that you are planning ahead, career, retirement, starting a business, winding a business down, depending on the stage and where you are in your life. Is it you have an adventure? I was talking to my sister the other day and she was talking about what we were going to do when she hit a certain stage, milestone of her life. And I'm not going to tell you what age it is because she probably wouldn't appreciate me doing so. Anyway, she's always got this thing about what she wants to do and I have signed up for it and I've said to her that when she hits this milestone that I will do this with her. And it's an amazing adventure and me and her will be doing this together. So what are your adventures? Right? What will you do? What will your plans be? Right? Having an adventure to do together, to travel, right? Is it a home? Is it a location? Are you going to move somewhere? Are you going to have a home that you're going to aspire to? Do you love your home that you're in? Are you going to make it a home together? What is it that you want to do? How will you support each other's dreams and elevate each other up? Because being together as a couple, the ideal is that you lift each other up to be the best version. You challenge your partner. And you might never challenge them in front of other people, question them, but you're surely meant to challenge them when you're on your own together. It's about being able to have a partner that holds you accountable, that will help you to be the best version of yourself, that will know when you're not at your best, will challenge you when you do things that are not the best version of yourself. That's what a good partner's supposed to do. That's what it's all about. We're meant to be with the person that doesn't just tell us what we want to hear, but will tell us what we don't want to hear in the most difficult and challenging times. But will also help to support us with our dreams and our aspirations. That will help us to grow, to actualise into our best version of ourselves. Because as they do that for us, we're supposed to do that for them. We're supposed to complement each other. And that's where the trust comes in. That if I'm doing this for my partner, they'll do that for me. The last and final stage is the stage that I talk to my clients about. It's a stage I've added on, I'm going to be honest with you, right? It's not a stage you'll find anywhere else, but I call it the evaluation, recommitment and investment. And it's where you're continuously saying, this is important to continuously invest, connect and check in with my partner. And I feel and believe that this is truly fundamental in any committed relationship. One of the biggest problems that couples have, they don't forgive, they hold on to grudges. They don't challenge and talk through and problem solve all the time. They sweat the small stuff. When I talk to couples that have been married, 30, 40, 50 years, 20 years, I ask them all the time, how do you do what you do? How have you made your relationship successful? And they'll always say they don't sweat the small stuff. They forgive. their partner quickly, and they will tell their partner they love them every day. They make a choice to fall in love every single day with their partner, and they know that the physical fails, flaws, all of that, the physical, what we look like, that goes very quickly, right? You're never going to stay the way you look when you meet. You're always going to change your physical attributes. Your partner needs to fall in love with who you are fundamentally within you as a person. And they will love you and fall in love with you every single day if you love them, regardless and despite their flaws. You know, the key thing is that you go through life not choosing to do harm to another person. That you choose to love your partner for who they are and you want the best for them. That's really what it's all about. So the fifth stage is about recommitting and evaluating your relationship, making the time to invest in your relationship. And that means being real and honest. Am I doing the best in this relationship? Am I committing to my partner? And evaluating who you are. Are you bringing the best you? Are you making it about you? Are you making decisions for you as a self-full person? Or are you making it as a selfish person? How many times do I have couples coming to me and I have a partner who's gambling and being selfish, who's doing drugs and being selfish about their own needs? How many times do I have people that run up debt and know that they're harming themselves, but also their family or their relationship? When we drink to excess, we're taking, money that actually needs to be going to our partner and our lifestyle. And yes, we might have other issues, but that's where I come in. I work with what the real problem is, because if we're using drugs or alcohol or other substances, there's some problem that's going on behind that. So we need to deal with what the real issue is and not self-medicate. If we have a behaviour, an attitude, a behaviour, a self-medicating, behaviour, self-sabotaging, we need to be real with it and we need to deal with it and deal with it appropriately. If you're evaluating and keeping a check on what we're doing, keeping a check in the relationship, we're constantly investing, then our relationship should be in course. It should always be on course. We should have this compass. We should be navigating the relationship with our partner and checking in. And if our partner's telling us there's a problem, we shouldn't override it and go, you're talking nonsense. We should be listening with open ears. We should be asking, what is it that I'm doing that you're seeing that I'm not recognising? How can I help? What action do I need to do that would resolve this in a better way? The recommitment. That's why often people recommit to each other, usually because something's gone wrong, they've had to change, usually they've gone into couple counselling or therapy, they've done something to recommit, they've had to change what they've done because they've actually done something where the relationship's gone off course, and they've had to recommit back to themselves after they've resolved the issues. Relationships are hard work. If you're in a committed relationship where you're committing to each other, you've got to put the effort in. If you don't nurture and keep a track on the relationship, people will come to me and they'll say, I think I gave up too soon. I walked away. But it's too late now. Never too late. If you want to invest in a relationship, you need two people to be prepared to do it. Somebody once said to me, as long as one person's fully committed, that's all you need. I don't think so. I think you need both people to want to make it work. Because if someone's half in and half out, you're not going to get the full attention, full effort. If you are constantly forgiving and constantly looking to make amends, then I guess the other person needs to be open to receiving that. There needs to be a willingness in both parts, I feel. So evaluation, recommitment and investing. An investment, a big part of that. It's not financial investment, although money does matter because money gets us places, gets us freedom and allows us to be able to deliver and provide. But I'm talking about time. For me, the most important thing I can ever give someone is my time. If I make time to correspond, if I make time to show up and turn up, then things happen. If I give my time, then something can happen. You have to be prepared to make time and invest. And that means making the time to sit together, whether it's last thing at night, first thing in the morning, whether it's every Saturday or every weekend or every Wednesday, whatever's the best day. At least once a month you should be certainly decluttering the stuff that you're holding on to, the grudges, the grievances, the gripes, and you need to forgive readily and not bring things up. Now, women are often particularly bad at doing this. We tend to rechurn things because men often are like, we've talked about it, it's done and dusted. And women are often like, but we haven't solved it yet, so I still want to talk about it. Men are like, why are you still talking about that? You keep nagging me about this. And the woman's like, but it hasn't been sorted. What she's really saying is, I don't think you've really heard and listened because the behaviour hasn't changed and I feel hurt. Right? I'm still hurt about this. And I haven't moved on because I feel as if you haven't listened, heard, really understood, and you've not taken it seriously. The man's like, well, I did hear you, but you haven't given it time to move on from it. And every time you bring it up, the more and more annoyed I'm getting, and I'm going to shut down and not listen to you. One of the other common things that I hear is that often, depending on who you are and what you do, but often when you come through a door, if you've been working, if you're a stay-at-home person, whether it's a mum or a dad, or, or whether it's, you're a man or a woman and you go out, if the other person or the partner is at home working, remote working, hybrid working, if you're the one that's been out, you've often had stimulus, you've been in with other people, you've been out and about. When you come home, you often just want to kind of decompress and just leave me alone. But if you've been sitting at home all day, you often want to then, oh good, my partner's here, and you often want to talk. So one of the most common things I hear is the minute they walk in the door, I want to tell them what my day's been like. The other person's like, the minute I walk in my door, all I hear is you telling me what your day's been like. Yeah, because I haven't spoke to anyone. I haven't been able to speak to you. They're like, yeah, because I've been out and I need to decompress. I need to unwind and de-stress. So you don't want to listen to me. And then all of this misunderstanding, all of this, you don't want to listen to me, all starts. Good rule of thumb. Give each other the space and the time just to decompress. A good rule of thumb is that if somebody's been out working, give them 10 or 15 minutes to decompress. Whether they come home, they go out and they go maybe do their exercise, or they go out and have a shower, or they sit and they just have a cup of tea or whatever, coffee or whatever, right? Just allow them to sit and just clear their mind and de-stress and say, welcome home, it's lovely to have you back, here's your cup of tea, or whatever they like, go and have your shower, go and exercise, go and decompress and de-stress, and let's regroup when you're ready to in the next 15, 20 minutes, an hour, or whatever long it is. And that's the time to then share your day's experiences. And a good idea when you do that is you share your experiences is to try and make it about 15 minutes each. Otherwise it becomes a conversation of, you'll never guess what's happened to me, you'll never guess what they said, what they did, and you regroup, you rechurn the whole day, and it becomes a conversation of complaints often, unless you've had really good experiences, right? Time limit, that's what I'm saying. Cut boundaries, time limit, because then you can then go on to, let's start the afternoon, let's start the evening, let's start this time, let's connect and regroup, and let's make it about us. Setting boundaries and time boundaries are so important. If you make it about now, You've shared your day, I've shared my day. We've done it at the best time, at the right time for each other, and now we can make it about us. That sets the relationship in a much better space and place. And it allows you to have affection and intimacy and just to be with each other and not feel the pressure and the strain and the tension. It just sets you up for a good and a better evening or afternoon or night. It's a respectful way of being. Just a thought. And many of you might say, well, we already do that, and that's great. But it's one of the most problematic things that I hear in my clinical work, my clinical practice. Just sharing that with you. So evaluate, recommit and invest. It's important to continuously reconnect and check in your relationship regularly and with each other. Declutter, forgive the hurts, resolve and find agreed solutions. And remember that neither of you are perfect. You're going to make mistakes. And we want to be forgiving quickly ourselves. So it's important that we move on and we don't sweat the small stuff. Now, here's a thought for a commitment statement. Commitment statement is something that I started a long time ago when I started doing couple counselling work. And I started doing result coaching with couples, and I started doing this about 20 odd years ago and suggested within couple work, and it's worked very successfully. Couples have told me they've really found this very helpful, where when they wanted to reconnect and regroup with each other, they started making a commitment statement to each other. And it's about writing your love story, writing the story that brought you together. And you create this story, and then what you then do is, as a reminder, this is a reminder. It reminds me about my story of how we got together. And I'm creating and manifesting. So I'm telling myself where I came from. And I'm going to write it down, because our brain processes the written and thinking word differently. So I'm going to tell myself this story, and I'm going to write it down. And I'm going to talk out loud when I write this down. And it's going to be about how we got together. And I'm going to remember in deep detail how we came together. Now, in couple work, I often get the couples to do this individually and then to share it with each other if they choose to. Usually they do choose to do it. I don't think I've actually had any couple who said, I'm not sharing it. They've often really wanted to. They've been really excited to. And there's no judgment. It's not like that didn't happen. It's more about, oh, you remember that? I forgot about that. Or, oh, I can't believe you did. You remembered this. That's amazing. So you write your story down, you create it, and then you manifest how to move things forward. And you talk about how you fell in love, how you connected, and the relationship, the closeness and intimacy. So the commitment statement might start off with something like this. And this is just an example, and obviously you'd write your own. So it would start off with a statement of, this is a commitment statement to my relationship and the love that I have formed and grown with you. And it might be that a relationship is like a roller coaster and we might fall in and out of love, but that's part of how a relationship is. I met you in the most unexpected way because you've taken my breath away, right? You don't have to say that, you use your own words. And what I mean is that our journey is unique, and I love our story as it started with you and me together. And right now we are building together, and you name what you've built, right? So whatever you've built together, whatever you've worked hard together and created together, and you name it. And we are beginning to move forward with our life and what we're building. And it might be you've got goals and aspirations and dreams and things that, you know, in the future you're saying, well, by this time, you know, in a year or 2 years or 5 years or 10 years, we'll have achieved. And you start naming what you'll have gained or built or put together in X amount of time. So it might be, you know, in a year's time, we're going to do this holiday, or, you know, we're going to have this adventure, we'll finished our rent or our mortgage or whatever it is, right? We're going to be moving or relocating or whatever. You put that in. And my career or my next retirement or whatever you're doing, or my investments or whatever, will come to fruition. And you put all these things in. I'm committing to you as my partner and my life partner. I'm working on strengthening and growing myself as an individual to bring the best version of me and be the best person I can in this relationship. The things that I'm working on are, and you name them, because these are the things that I know can hurt us and weaken us as in our relationship. I know that when I do it, and whatever behaviours that you know that annoy, hurt or break down your relationship, you name them. I know when I do this, so it might be when I say certain things or I call you certain things or I do certain things, this hurts. I know that it hurts you when you ask me to, take care or to look after or to bring certain things to you, be considerate or thoughtful, or when I ask you ask me not to call you certain things. I know when I do these things, these hurt you, undermine you, make you feel manipulated. When I lose my temper, or when I don't treat you with silence, right? Or when I don't return your calls, or when I go off, with my friends and I don't, communicate with you, whatever it is your behaviours are, you name them. And I'm working on these because I know that these only affect our relationship in a very negative way. What I want to do is support our relationship and support you as my partner, because you're my love, my life partner, and you need to be the most and should be, and I aim for you to be the best and most important person in my life. It is my intention to be and to bring the best version of me into the relationship and to support you and elevate you to be the best version of you as a person. I will support you with your dreams and name them. Name the person's dreams. I know that you desire and dream to be, to have, to, whether it's career, to nurture their faith, to do better exercise, to eat healthily, to love their body, to accept, have their family accepted, to have their friendships accepted, to show better self-care, have better compassion for themselves, whatever it is. I know that these are things that you need to have, work better on, and I need to support you better as your partner, and I need to enable you to be able to do this. And for you to have more time for yourself, investing in, and it might be mindfulness or yoga or walking or exercise or eating better, getting better sleep. These are better self-care, and I will make time and allow and enable and support you to have time to do these things. My commitment is for you to be able to learn, to grow, and to be the best version of you. I know that when my attention strays, when I allow myself to look at other men or women and learn, I need to learn never to let anything or anyone to distract me in any way away from our love and our connection. And that includes pornography, the internet, dating, right? That includes any kind of emotional connection where you're connected to other people that you shouldn't be. I get this all the time in dating, and relationship sites where people say it's not a big deal, it's flattery, it's my ego, I'm not harming. The minute you connect to someone else emotionally, physically or sexually, you're taking away from the committed relationship you have, and it harms your partner. Research has shown this. It is fact that you are not committed to the relationship that you are supposed to be committed to. If you're on your devices, whether it's your mobile, your tablet, your phone, and you're gaming, you're getting dopamine fix and you might be feeling good about it and it might be giving you excitement and adrenaline. You're taking away from the connection that you're meant to be focusing on, which is the person that's in the same room as you, or the person you're actually emotionally connected or supposed to be connected to. Each day I turn and I look at you, or I connect to you, I choose you. And I therefore have said I'm committed to you. And this commitment statement, I am recommitting to you, to us, and I choose, even though there might be other people, there might be other potentials. I shut them down because I am committed to you, and I have decided it is a choice, and I've decided that our love is my choice. I see you, I love you, I'm in love with you, and every day I choose you because you are my person. You're the most beautiful and amazing person, and I feel privileged and I appreciate to be and to have you in my life. And you're the one I give my all to, my heart, my body, my all, and I appreciate and value you. You're all the things that I deserve and you deserve. And I want you to know that I will be the best version of me because you deserve to have that. You show me that I can be and should be, and you see the best version of me, and I need to be able to deliver that back to you. Every day that I give forgiveness, I need to forgive me, forgive you, and I need to be able to see past the small things. I need to be able to see the things that are going well and focus on those more, and show gratitude and appreciation. And I know that if we do that for each other, we can't help but grow our commitment and our partnership and make it an equal partnership. I end this commitment statement thanking you for choosing to be with me, and thanking you to go through life each year and to have life together in our old and olden years. So that's an example of a commitment statement. You can make your own commitment statement in whatever way you choose to do so. But a true commitment statement really needs to show a depth. And it needs to show a depth of who you are, who you want to be, and you need to be able to go into real deep emotions. That's why I went into that in real detail. So, couple relationships. If you look at the stages and you look at where you are within these relationship stages, and whether you are in the early stages, whether you're moving into stage 3 or 4, or whether you're actually in a couple relationship, ask yourself, am I committed? Am I giving my best version within the couple relationship? And if not, have I got work to do? Thank you for joining me. Hopefully you have found this enlightening, right? And there is a commitment there for you to be able to move forward to. Next time I will be working on other topics. I will be covering lots of different subjects, and I look forward to having you joining me. Thanks for today. Take care and good mental health. This is CMG Talk, and this is Catherine Gallagher. Thanks for joining me today.